Celeste, where are you?
I'm in Houston.
In America, huh?
Yes,
Yeah, I'm back in the States. I'm in Houston.
I'm about to get a last
And you know what? I'm gonna say something. I just want to say something, right? Because the father led me here, and I'm with my dad. My dad is Cameroonian, and my stepmom is Cameroonian, and it's funny, and she laughs at me because when they cook the traditional Cameroonian dishes, and some that I know of and I love, and some I'm like, I don't know about that. You know what I'm saying? And I just see just how different we are just culturally, even though that's my dad. And I mean, I didn't grow up with him. I just met him, when I was 23. Praise the Father for that, because I have been looking for him for years of losing contact and whatnot. But I just look at where we do connect, where we there, and then other places where, and it could be also, it's also generation, but it's also the upbringing that's different, and I get into it like, man, I want to know, like it's a part of me that my mom has always been like, you're just very business minded. You've always been that way. But then I talk to my father, and he's like, we're the Bamileke tribe. Bamileke are very business minded type people. They just think that way and are that way. And I'm like, really? Is that why I'm that way? So it's I'm learning all over again. Just culturally, from my father's perspective of our people, and then also what he has to go through, his experience in America. Here he is, a very intelligent man who's run banks in his country, and came here to get to know me, and stayed, and can't get ahead because he's discriminated against because of his heavy French Cameroonian accent, or whatnot. I don't know. So I don't know. I'm just enjoying just seeing their relationship and seeing how they navigate the States from their lens. I just want to share that.
Yeah, it's interesting. And Black people, like the Black people we met in France, I mean, the same things that we struggle with in the States, they struggle with in Europe. It's the same story everywhere you go. And it's like, I just want to say to like white people who don't really believe that racism is what we are saying it is. It's just like every Black person in the world can't be wrong. Mm-hmm. We all just can't. We can't be all wrong. How can I go to France, a place that I've never been, and meet people I've never seen, and then we swap the same exact story?
Right.
It's funny. I think that these places over the course of time, over the last 50 to 60 years, have become more, and I think that's on the backs of the U.S. when they've been able to connect more globally using like media, because you have like writings and things like that from, like go back and read James Baldwin. Like he moved to France because of that. I left the U.S. because of what I felt, and he flourished in France and like went back, and like now, like you said, it's like when 2 years ago when the French won the World Cup, the Black men on that team were not recognized as Frenchmen and won that championship. Yep. And I was like crazy. Like they grew up in this country, they've been here. But that's one thing too, is my first experience when you start racism abroad. I moved to Egypt in 2014, and that's when the IE was like October. And I took a trip to Athens. It was my first international trip. And I still remember walking through Plaka, whatever that main shopping area is. And all out here over, like, I mean, there's hundreds of people walking through. And all it is, I mean, this is still being recorded, but it was like, you effing N-word, you effing N-word. And I'm like, wow. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I can like hear it. And then I'm like, who they talk? Like, I'm trying to see like who they talking to. Like,
in Athens?
Yeah, and so I'm like looking around. I realized I'm the only Black person, and she's telling me this. And I was like, and she was like, yeah, you stole my money, all this stuff. And you got like all these people walking around. And I was just like, man. And I truly, at that moment, that's when I realized, like I said, no matter what I go in this world, and it's so true. Some people can travel to different places with their skin color. They go to different places and they can be mistaken for something else. Yeah. But like anywhere we travel, like we first, like we're not man, woman, we're Black first. You know what I mean? And so, yeah, that you know, it's a very different experience. And just the idea of talking about, like, I've been more aware of, and my responsibility as men over like the last years, and you know, understanding, like, I'm catching up on a lot of our history right now, even just touching base with my grandmother who's in Arkansas. And I'm like, my grandmother never gave me about her upbringing. My grandfather never either. And I asked my grandmother, and I say, Granny, like, you know, how did you experience racism and stuff like that when you were growing up? Because I knew you were in the South. And she was just like, well, you know, I really didn't experience that, besides, you know, some young white boys who come through in their truck and then some things to us, and then they like move on. But she was just like, the town that we lived in was very much protected. So I didn't, when I moved to Las Vegas, she said, that's when I felt all my racism in my life. It's when I moved out west to Las Vegas. And she said, I experienced way more racism here when I was growing up in the South. So that was very much, and my mother and my grandmother I never grew up like this pro-Black, like, type of thing. Like, they never pushed on me. Like, they never sat me down and gave me like these history lessons on anything. And I wonder if talking about like this generational thing, to where they almost want to use like ministers as this way to not continue on in any of that generational trauma that went on. So they kind of like blocked us from understand things, to where we was almost like a fresh slate to like, yo, this is you guys moving forward. You know, I'm not bringing that extra stuff with you. And then I felt like I was kind of cheated, because I felt like I was cheated on some of their experiences. And now it's like, oh, I missed that opportunity. It's like, I can still gain some of that knowledge now.
There's a couple of people that moved over to Europe. Like Josephine Baker, she moved to Paris, you know, to escape racism.
Well, Angela, Maya Angelou, she left the U.S. and came throughout. How about this? Her son graduated from CAC here in Egypt.
Really?
She left for a year and came through, and she spent here. Yeah, he graduated from CAC, and she continued her journey on through Africa.
Interesting. Yeah, I have no desire to return to the States, like none, like zero. I don't even feel connected to the States anymore. The only connection I have there is my dad, my sisters, you know, my aunts, my uncles, my cousins. That's it. I don't have any other connection to.
Steph, that's what I told you. That's what, you know, that's part of what I meant before as well when I said times are changing. It's not just about where I want to live and Black people. I can't wait to get out of the UK. I can't wait to get out of here and go elsewhere. And I say, much to the dismay to my mum, Mum, I'm going to China. I'm just waiting to go to China for 3 years. She's like, no, don't go. Why are you going out there? I said, Mum, it's a big wide world out there. It's times have changed, Mum. You know, and when you say that you have no connection to the US, I don't want to be in the UK. I want to be abroad for the next 10 years at least. And I want to settle abroad. I have an apartment here. I have family here. I have all my friends here, obviously, but I just don't have any affiliations to the UK anymore. I want to go and stay out there. I might even end up in Egypt again at some stage. I don't know, but I'm telling you.
I feel the same way. Like, I totally hate the idea of being in America. I know if I go back, it'll be a culture shock for me. My sister, she asked me a few weeks ago, would I ever come back to Indiana? I just said no. I think that kind of bothered her, but I hate the idea of going back to racist, redneck, KKK state Indiana. I'd rather just die somewhere. I hate, and even my cousins say, hey, B, when you coming home? And all I say to them is, I hate Indiana. I hate it. I would rather you peel the flesh off my bones. Last time I went to Indiana was to bury my mother. We flew her body from California, Indiana. I buried my mother. I said, bye, Indiana. I'm not coming back. I haven't been back since. That was 11 years ago. And before that, I left 5 years before. I just really hate that place with a passion. And every time there's a natural disaster somewhere, I wish it happened in Indiana. I do. And then, you know, but there's another side to that though. So now my whole thing is Okay, so now as an African American man wanting to stay out of Indiana, especially, but America overall, the question now becomes where to go. So, like we were talking before, you know, I want to go somewhere where there are some black folks, but also still understanding that I am, even though I hate America, I'm still a westernized human being, and I'm a very rough kind of man. I like things to be the way I want it to be. So a little bit of modernization, a little bit of ease and modern convenience, and a system that works, you know. So Egypt is getting on my nerves too. So now the question becomes, what are the best places for us to go start a new life? Because in the end, I think that a lot of us, including myself, it's easier for us to make a life for ourselves outside of America or the UK and actually live better, you know what I mean, than we were. But the question becomes, where can we go where we be safe? Because I've experienced people saying the N-word to me a lot in Egypt. I had to break a few jaws and a few noses, you know, and, you know, for the same reason. So where can we go to be prosperous, be around some black folks, not get called the N-word because they didn't listen to too much rap music and saw too many movies, and, you know, be safe, because I have racial battle fatigue. I'm listen. If I see anything racist in you, I'm gonna punch you in the face, and it's just that simple.
We need to go to Wakanda. That's where we go to Wakanda.
Well, see, I'm old enough to where Zamunda is a place to be.
Only those places were real.
The Wakanda exists somewhere. You just don't make that up, yo.
Black people are afraid to travel, though. That's the thing. A lot of black people are afraid to get on a plane. Oh, you mean you have cars in Egypt? Yeah, we don't ride on camels. You don't live in a mud hut? No, I live in a whole house that's probably bigger than yours. Like, I mean,
Right.
Well, to be fair, some people in Egypt still do ride camels and donkeys. No, don't forget.
I have never seen someone riding a camel unless they were at the pyramid.
Or somewhere where it was tourist.
Now, I know the little Babekia guy. He rides through the street collecting the little plastic, but he's coming from the villages. He's not coming from downtown Cairo.
Right.
You know,
I want to say something what you were talking about, Bilal, because, you know, I know I was, you know, guided to be here. You know, I heard when the father told me go with your father, and I wanted my children to still see that parent, that mother, father dynamic with their grandparents, and to build a relationship with their grandparents, because I know when I push on again, I'm not coming back to this country. And I was getting anxiety because my son is he's so ready to go. He's like, by October we're leaving, and I'm like, we got to get, you know, things in order, whatever. And I'm very, very spiritual. I move when the Father say move, and I do what He says do, because He always makes a way and makes a path.
Right.
And I have all intentions of traveling the entire world with all 7 of my children, no matter what people try to say, oh, that's going to be difficult. I don't think it's going to be difficult. I just know I'm going to make a way to do so. And I remember my husband, when we were out there in Egypt, you know, he was so done with Egypt. He was done with the Middle East, period. And we wanted to move to Cameroon, where my father's from. He was going to go and check it out. And I remember him saying, but if it's not safe to be there or in other places in Africa, I don't want to put my family in danger. Then we would just go to Europe, or to the UK, or to Australia, or to wherever. And now that I'm here in that space, you know, choosing a country, you know, Costa Rica, Brazil, I'm looking at all these different countries. I am, you know, making sure, first of all, to be silent and to listen to where He wants to move us to. Because I do think about, I don't want to put my children in a situation to where I'm, you know, I have to fear for our lives. You know, and this is, you know, this is a new space for me. I'm used to being the helpmate, you know, my husband hitting the gavel, and I love that space, but having to be the head, you know, of a home. I told my son, every decision that I make for our family matters.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't do things in haste. I am looking at different countries. I was even looking at Mongolia at one point, you know.
Oh
I would love
Lord.
there. Mongolia, it's so beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Right.
Beautiful.
So and I'm in that space right now. I'm asking everyone, even what's going on right now, hey, have you renewed your passport? Have you gotten it back? What's that looking like? Because mine and a couple of my children, expires in April, and I'm like, hold up. If they're not giving back passports, then I definitely don't want to be in this country, come the end of this year.
Why are they not giving back passports? I got mine back.
It's not that they're not, but it's you're in out of the country is different.
Yeah.
But I'm just asking, because of this whole COVID, so many things have slowed down. They want to put so many different rules into place. So I'm asking those who I know are renewing, hey, are they putting stipulations? Have they given it back? I just want to keep my ear to the ground there, because for me, I'm like, well, that's a timeline for when I got to get the heck up out of the States, because I don't want to be here. I enjoy my time, my
when do
family.
they expire? The passports, when do they expire?
April
of next year.
Mm-hmm.
You can renew it as early as 6 months prior.
I know, but before I do that, which is October, I want to know.
Oh, well, I'm naughty then, because mine has been expired for like a couple of months, and my son's a little bit more than that.
You should go to the embassy and get that dealt with.
Are they open?
Yeah, the embassy, you can, if you need a passport, if your passport is expired, definitely you need to make a call. You need to call and make an appointment, or
They'll give you
All right.
the appointment in online. You got to do the appointment online with the State Department, and then they will send you a confirmation that you need to print all that out and then fill out that form.
And they can do
All
it.
right.
They'll give you a temporary passport that they'll print there in the office. That's good for a year until you can get your actual.
It only took them a month to give me my passport back.
See, and that's the thing. You're in another country, and that's why I'm like, I'd rather renew outside of the country.
I was not playing with it. Listen, unless you go outside of the country and renew it outside of the country, and then
That's what I was thinking. Because, girl, honey, I'm not about to be stuck in this crazy country. I don't want to be here.
Well, yeah. So we're going to be having a lot more of these discussions. I've got some really good topics. One of the topics that I want to go deeper into is Black men and women and self-identity. Because like a lot of us, although we are pro-Black, or even if we just know we're Black and we are not necessarily pro-Black, I do think that with most of us, there is something internal that in some cases we do disassociate from being Black. Okay, for example, I was having a conversation with one of the sisters out here. And I would say about 11 years ago when I was in corporate America. Okay, this was before I locked my hair. Now, I've always been raised to be pro-Black. This just my family, we just pro-Black. That's just what we are. But of course, I'm fairer skinned and I have a different texture of hair, right? And so when I was in corporate America, I would notice, like, this is after the fact, after I started like studying the way that we study, when I kind of did some kind of self-reflection, I realized that when I was going to work, I toned down my Blackness. I toned down.
How soon was that you used to do that? Because
like 12 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I did my makeup a certain way that would make me a little bit ambiguous, but I did it subconsciously. I didn't do it, it wasn't over, like, I'm going to do this because I want to do this. It was subconscious. Mm-hmm. And I realized that, and I'm thinking it may be for all of Black women, but I'm just going to speak for myself. But I realized that I carried a lot of my vanity in my hair. And I didn't want my hair to grow in its natural state, because if I let it grow in its natural state and you see this big curly piece of something on my head. That definitely connects me to being Black. And if I'm Black in corporate America, I can't get that promotion. If I don't get that promotion, I don't get that raise. If I don't get that raise, my mortgage is increasing yearly. Not my mortgage, but everything around me, the cost of living is increasing yearly. So and I want to climb the corporate ladder because I want to be successful. But then I had to think about, well, whose success do I want? Because inside of me, I'm more so passionate about food and cooking. I mean, food and music. I could care less about human resources. I can care less about working for the government. Honestly, I'm an artist. And so I was thinking about it and I was like, why did I want to tone down being Black? Like, how could it be I'm going up in this job, knowing who I am, but pushing who I am to the side to appease a bunch of white overseers?
Mhm.
And I felt ashamed because it was like, man, did I Uncle Tom? Like, did I, you know what I'm saying? Was I like a walking hypocrite? Like I'm leaving the job talking about some, you know, free Asada. You know, I'm going to Cuba because I want to meet Asada Shakur, or you know, my family may be connected to Malcolm X. This is, you know, I'm proud of this. You know what I'm saying? But then I go into the job and I'm like, hi, yeah, sure, okay, thank you. Instead of just being me.
That's what a lot of us do. A lot of us leave at our gates, and you know, you bring up a great point because you're probably going into an area where you might be the only one of one of few. And for us, it's subconscious thinking that, hey, I'm not only paving the way for myself, there's other people that's gonna follow. If I mess this up, not only do I mess it up for myself, I don't only mess it up for Derek, I mess it up for the next 8 Dereks that want to walk through this door. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so I think that's subconscious, like we're thinking that we need to open doors, because once we open that door of promotion, that we can actually start to bring some other people along. But you did hit on a good point of the idea of like going in and you turning yourself off, because I remember just watching this podcast a couple of weeks ago, and it was just talking about how that is a disservice to Black people as well, because if the next Black person walks through the door, they're going to think they should be like Stephanie. And when they're not like Stephanie, they're like, and somebody mentioned it, like they're too Black or something like that. No, that person has now, because I gave them an impression, this is what it looks like, when it actually looks like that. And that's the person that should have came before me, so that I could walk in the door and be myself as well. And so, but it's that duality. And I'm actually kind of going through that myself right now in my school, a little more comfortable now because of something that we're trying to do with diversity on our campus. Yeah. Also, too, it's like, yo, like, all right, I done it long enough. And it's just like, yo, like, whatever. Like, I have to bring, so the way I talk, the way I do certain things, I have to bring it, because as long as it's not affecting my productivity, it shouldn't matter.
Yeah.
Because you know why? There's people who bring their wine talk and their beer talk and whiskey talk on campus, and they do these other things, and they're allowed to do that. And I'm supposed to turn mine down. I'm actually more conscious of it now, that I'm going to make myself that I turn myself a little bit more now.
Turn up.
Yes, so whoever else comes next. Because the worst thing, I mean, the only thing y'all can do, y'all can't get rid of me, fire me. Like, as long as I ain't touching kids and stealing no money, y'all can't fire me if I'm doing my job.
Nothing to do.
Oh, you know what?
There's nowhere in my contract that say I have to turn my Blackness off when I walk on campus.
Hey,
you know what I mean?
I see you.
You know what? But I want to speak to that, because I noticed I was the same way. You know, I never thought about, you know, getting locks. You know, I used to wear my wigs and my weaves, and because, you know, I didn't know how to do my hair. I didn't. And I worked in corporate America. It was just like, oh my God, Celeste, you know, that's your hair. And I'm like, well, I bought it, you know. But I did tone down my Blackness to an extent. If something needed to be said, I had no problem speaking up about it. But at the same time, I feel like the workplace is the workplace, and my business is my business, unless it needs to become your business.
Yeah.
Because we can go into that where it comes to even sexuality, where do I need to know that you're into men and women? Do I need to really see that? Or can you just be, Mike? Do you need to be Mike, or do you need to be just Mike? You know what I mean? So I felt like for me, I did tone it down to an extent, but who I am and who I exude would come through in my clothing. I am my mother's child, so I do like to wear very nice vintage tweed type suits I will wear to work.
Yeah.
And I'd always, the CEO would call me into the office. I guess when that became the fashion designer for her, but okay, I guess because my blackness was like Celeste Knowles was hip. I don't know. I don't know what was.
Yeah.
Reaming off of me to where she felt as though she needed to ask for my 2 cents. So I believe to an extent, yeah, I would leave it in the background, but when it was needed or if something was said, I would definitely, speak up. So but again, my business is my business though.
That's why I want to have the show, because every one of us has done it on some level. We've done it. Why do we feel like we have to turn down who we are when a white person can go in work and be white and walk out of work and be white, or walk into a situation and be white? And
because they're norms. They created the norms. So,
right. Like
whatever they here is a structural norm. You know what I mean? That's just like when you walk into your house, you created norms in your house. So when they walk in, they behave a certain way when they walk in your house. Or if I got out a deck of cards, there's kind of behavior that comes out when Cat starts playing spades or dominoes. There's a behavior toward that, right? Mm-hmm. And so there's been this so-called behavior that's been thrown this way for so many different years, is that has been ingrained in our DNA and our parent way. Think about this. About our southern grandparents, but what did they tell you when they gave you those rules, left the house, or when you about to go to a store?
You better act up.
You don't ask for nothing.
You better not act up.
I think it's even bigger than that. I think it's bigger than that because we don't control anything. We don't own anything.
True.
So we know that we have to behave a certain way to get what we need from them, a job or some kind of service done or so on and so forth. And this is the cost of us not having our own nation, our own businesses, our own communities. When you have your own, you ain't got to answer nobody. You do whatever you want to. Yeah. My apartment else's house. We are still living in somebody else's house, whether it's in America, the UK, whether we're in Egypt or someplace else. And that's our biggest issue. We have to get our own. And until we get our own, we'll always be in positions where we have to compromise ourselves, tone ourselves down, and wash ourselves down for others. And it's tiring. It's tiring for us to live this kind of double existence, this kind of tree accent at home, right? But at work, she had a straight up perfect English kind of accent. We got to get to a point to where we can be who we want to be, when we want to be it, and how we want to be it, wherever we want to be it. And that's one of our biggest issues.
We've mastered the art of code switching.
Yes, girl. Yes, we have. I was gonna say, like, the freest a Black person is like the environment that we are the most free is at the cookout, when we at the barbecue. That's as free as you see a Black person be. We cut up. So I mean, I feel like that's really not even at church, because at church, you got your grandma about to pinch that skin underneath your arm. If you act up, you can't act up in the church. But you can go to the cookout and you can act a fool. You can be your whole Black self unapologetically.
Right. It's I try very hard at work to show my individuality, not just because I'm Black, but I'm also younger than a lot of my coworkers, and I'm a woman. So I try to remind them every chance I get of those differences that I have, and that I'm going to bring those differences to the table. Like, one example, I made our CEO play Beyonce for a song of the day or something related to a problem. And, or, just bringing those differences up and bringing it to work, because they push that stuff on you every damn day. You walk in, all they want to talk about is their damn boats that they were on the weekend, and I'm like, well, I just hung out at the barbecue.
Because Black people, we don't do boats. Last
Right.
time we
I was doing the electric slide.
Oh,
Right.
Lord. I'm scared of water.
I just sit there and I'm like, I don't have kids that I have to ship off to college or make a college payment to, or my boat and all this other stuff. Y'all gonna hear about this barbecue.
Chicken was fire.
Right. I had way more fun at the barbecue than you had on your boat. I can tell you that.
Let me tell you. So, I mean, I just think it's interesting that we are forced into these societal norms that we, quite honestly, we do not fit in. We don't fit. We just don't
So
fit.
true.
We have too much
true.
salt and too much flavor and too much barbecue sauce up on that thing for us to be trying to fit in a world that's bland. Like,
But secretly, they all want that flavor though. Like that's
they want salt. They want salt bag. They want salt bag.
You start talking about the consumers of our product. Start looking at it like the flavor there. They're okay. If you got closet racist, they got closet flavorism right now. Like on the low purchasing thing. You know what I mean? Like they want it. Like that's the thing, is that's what really helped me out too. What they're talking about turning up a little bit is my students, because the students really listen. They listen to hip hop and these other kind of things.
Yeah.
So there's language that we can use in the classroom. I mean, not like, but there can be a song like you just talked about, like the song or something like, and the kids are vibing. So if Mr. Brown is vibing with that and they vibe Mr. Brown, that gets to their parents, and their parents are cool with Mr. Brown because my kids like Mr. Brown. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like, what is Mr. doing that? Miss Morris ain't doing up in the language art classroom. And it's like, and that's what it is. They want that flavor. Like somebody talked about their clothes. Celeste was talking about her clothes. They already know about my shoe game. I had a colleague today actually. And she looked at my, she's like, ooh, and we go, do I got new shoes? We got new shoe outfits this year. I said, yeah, I got some little dibble dabble, but that's like a thing. Like, my colleagues know about the shoe, kids know about the shoe game, but that's another thing, is like, I can turn that up. And I walk and work just like this with a hat on backwards. Like I'm sitting in meetings, talking to parents. I'm like, yo, this is me. Like, this is how I come to work.
Derek, what do you teach?
I teach PE.
Oh, you're a junior. You're a match.
That's interesting. Yeah.
You're a match.
By the way,
Like, bro, like t-shirt and shorts, that's the best thing. And,
all day, all year long. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even in the winter, no jogging pants.
Even in the winter.
Oh, it's too cold to be wearing shorts now.
Oh no. Dedicated, man. Dedicated. Lead
That's
by
white
example.
people stuff. That's white people stuff, wearing shorts.
Hey, it's funny you say that, because my mom was talking about when I was a kid. And it was like, and like, even like I talked about the activities where people were like, oh, that's white people stuff. That's white people stuff. Like, yo, I actually started to get offended by it, but I was like, you know what? I get to be in for that for black folks. Be like, yo, no, there's black folks in this space. Like I'm in this space, so there's black people that do it.
That's
like
right.
scuba diving. I got a younger cousin who's 6, and who talked about Indiana. I think it was Bilal. He went to Indiana.
He said, burn it with fire. That's what he said. Burn it with fire.
I showed him some of my diving videos, and he was like, he's like, Cuzzo, hey, I want to learn how to dive, Cuzzo. I was like, cool. Like, he got interested, and he was like, yeah, I'm going to sign up and everything. And he did. He went down. He's hitting me up today on message. He was like, have you ever been like decompression sickness or something like that? So he's like talking diver talk to me now, and I was like, no, bro, I haven't. And he's like, the first dive, like, were you scared? And so now, by him seeing a couple videos, he's like, I'm in. Like, now I got a younger cousin who's stepping into this space as well. You know what I mean? And just showing like, hey, there's black people that dive. Like I showed him in your hometown of Houston. There's it's called Houston, like the Nubian dive.
Done.
or something like that. And it's a big dive group of black divers in Houston. You know,
Diving at Lake Conroe?
You know what? I can't stand the whole that's white people because I want to learn to surf. I've always wanted to learn to surf. That's just it.
It's fun though.
Like that, and then my son wants, you know, my 10-year-old wants to be an oceanographer, and that's for white people. I don't like that. That's for white people. I don't teach my children to hold themselves back in.
right.
Well, hey, you know what? You know what? Actually, most of the time, it's inaccurate. Like, for an example, I remember the first time I saw a black person playing hockey. I saw this guy get hit in the face in the National Hockey League. Now, the first thing came to my mind was, what is this black dude doing playing hockey? Until I found out later there was actually black people in Canada that invented hockey.
Yep.
So, you know, so a lot of times we are even ignorant of our own history on certain things. Like a lot of things they stole from us, they hid it away, we forgot we even made it. And now we call it white. Rock and roll was made by black folks.
It was. I hate when people be like, you listen to white people. No. Jimi Hendrix was black.
It's like the idea of lacrosse. Lacrosse, like their first championship team was an all-black team, I think, out of Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
And they realized how good they were. Like, nah, y'all can't be in no more.
Yeah, like you know.
I don't think black people are aware, and I'm not generalizing here, but I really don't think black people are aware of what we've created as a race, what we've been involved in, the inventors and all sorts of stuff, the trends, the fashion, you know, the dances, the whatever. I don't think people realize what the real history of black people, apart from.
It is because, as they say, the story is told by the victor, right?
Yep.
So, like,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It's his story.
Yeah, like I get to write it. It's like the cotton gin. It was like, why would a white man create a tool that makes the job easier for a slave? It was like, that doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Oh.
But nobody questions it, right?
But see, that's the thing. I think if more black people knew certain things about our history and who we really are, we wouldn't have these problems with self-identity. We would be proud to be like, I'm coming up in work. This is me. This is who I am.
Even if you're the first.
Take it or leave it.
History. It's okay. You know, it's okay. Don't put a ceiling on the possibilities of whatever it is that you want to go after. I don't believe in that. I don't hold. I walk in everything that I do.
Really.
And I exude that confidence, and I teach my
children. Absolutely.
Yep.
It's all changed. I don't know if people believe it or embracing it, but it is all changed. I know I've said it about 10 times this evening, but unless you're in the know and you realize and you know what you're looking for in terms of the changes, in terms of the way. And I know I'm part of that change as well, personally, because I'm a lone wolf at the moment. I don't have many friends. I don't have many friends because I don't follow society's rules and I do what I want to do. Just like when you're talking about the way you used to dress and the way you carry your hair and this and that. My ideas changed years ago, and that's why I say I'm on my own. I'm a lone wolf. But literally, I don't give a monkey's what other people say. I challenge people. If I hear something said that I don't like, where other black people probably sit beside and not say anything, I don't do that, man. And that's why I don't have any friends, because I challenge it. I open my mouth and I say, no, you ain't saying that. Not around me. That's not right. You can't say that. You know, X, Y, and Z. And, you know, you'll find out who your friends are because you end up with none. Literally. So I don't give a monkey's either. I'm not living my life like that.
That's why I said in the beginning when someone asked if we were going to have our cameras on, I said, you don't have to, but I am, because I'm a queen. And the world should see that I'm a queen. And I wasn't speaking from a place of arrogancy. I was speaking of a place of, okay, a couple of years ago, my self-esteem may not have been in the place where it should have, but now it's a new day and I'm going to walk in who I am. And I want the world to see who I am because I've hid myself for far too long. And now
mine had to do with my internet. I was just trying to save bandwidth.
Oh,
Mine had to do with.
Eric said, I want the world to see this kingness. This is king right here.
Like
But I slept for 3 hours, and I was
uploaded
like,
a picture to the WhatsApp. My phone got more data. I uploaded to the WhatsApp.
See, that's what I'm saying, because I have a sisters ministry, and we did a meet and greet, and I went around and I asked everyone to say one good thing about themselves. One. Nobody could say one good thing about themselves, but they can tell you 5, 10, 12 negative things about themselves.
I think sometimes people don't want to. I used to not come off as arrogant or at one point, but people that know me, like, listen, I love
arrogance.
I love me. I'm my best friend. I love the way I look. I love my hair. I love everything about Celeste.
So that's the thing. We just put ourselves into a box. We accepted what's been given to us, and it's just you're not arrogant at all. And that needs to change. It needs to change universally. Black people.
If you can't, okay, Angel. Sorry. Okay, but if you can't big yourself up, if you can't be your own, cheerleader, and if you can't say what's good about you, that's a problem. You should be able to say what's good about you without sounding arrogant. You're not saying that you're the best. You're just simply saying, I'm good at this. I can cook my butt off. I'm sure there's somebody else who's better than me, like my sister, like my mama, like my grandma, but I'm damn good.
Right?
Yeah,
right?
There's nothing wrong with saying that.
I remember hearing this woman speak back in December, and she taught that. She would say how, you would get a white woman who would mention, or a white man who would mention the accomplishments of their children, and then we'll have our own child who walks in the house with this stellar score, and we would definitely downplay their experience. And I think that's something that we've kind of been, it comes from post-traumatic slave syndrome, where if you spoke out, you'd be like, oh, you're up, like you're being arrogant, and you would get put in place, usually whipped just by stepping out. And so it's the idea is we're actually protecting ourselves by downplaying our company because we don't want to get put back into a place. And this is something subconsciously. And it's like our kid, like if we had I don't have children at all, but I remember having my nephew when he used to play youth football, and I'd just show up and they'd be like, man, your nephew, he had like 3 touchdowns. And I was like, oh, it's cool. That's, that's what he's supposed to do. He got a great line and these other, make up things to downplay his experience. And it's like, he just went off, but I can't be like this arrogant because that's kind of a label that's been placed on us, that we have this sort of arrogance, and it's actually been kind of whipped out of us at different points. So it's trying to find that balance of, so like certain things, like, yeah, we may say, oh, damn, we good at this, but other things that we're not good at, like we would downplay even though we're good at it. If that makes sense. Like, oh, yeah, I can hoop a little bit. And it's like, I'm supposed to hoop, but it's like, oh, damn, you like really killing it. You killed the AC 35. Like, nobody's going to like, yeah, that's how I do. I get 35s out of 36. You know what I mean?
That's not right, because it's like we have to think about the ramifications of our self-esteem and how that actually affects us. And it can affect our confidence because we know we're good at something and we have to downplay it. That can have adverse psychological effects on when we're actually doing the thing that we're good at. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but for your children too.
So I guess the next time you ask your girl,
I'm gonna be my little girl gonna know she a queen, and my little boy gonna know he a queen. Let me tell you something. I don't care if anybody called them arrogant. They're going to be raised to love themselves. That's how they go out in the world, because the world is tough and the world is going to beat them down, and the world is going to tell my children, we hate you. We don't like you. Your skin is black. We don't like your hair. But they're going to need that confidence. Like, I don't care what you think about me. I'm a queen.
Yes. And I tell my children that. I tell my children, listen, they understand what's going on. I showed them the George Floyd situation, and they were like, oh my gosh, like that's and my husband and I try to, make them very aware. But I do raise my children. I say, listen, you are a beautiful princess who is growing to be an amazing queen. Your locks are gorgeous. and people want to be you, so they'll try to tear you down. They'll tear you down. And I gave my sister, my daughter, the scenario. I said, imagine this. You know, you have a group of people that'll say your lips are ugly, your body's ugly. However, they're mimicking your body. They're mimicking.
Right to the tanning salon.
And I said, so what does that tell you? She said, well, it seems to me they want to be me. I said, exactly, but they want you to hate yourself. Never hate yourself.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I'm sorry. I get passionate about, you know, I wanted to bring a massive amount of, you know, little prince and princesses, and praise the Father, I've been blessed to be able to do so, because I know, you know, that's will be here when I'm long gone. So
bye, Bilal.
See you, Bilal. Take care.
Bye. See you guys later.
Okay.
Bye.
Yeah. So, you know, we can definitely. I'm gonna try to hold the podcast every other week. So next week it'll be mental. Yeah, next week mental health. Not the next week. The week after next, mental health, and then the week after that it will be. I think I want to go with self-identity and the Black community.
I don't know if this is like your meaning behind this, but I don't know if you know this is some kind of like group therapy, you know, being able to speak out, you know, to have everybody share the experiences, because, you know, when most of us probably exit out of this screen, we probably off to ourselves, you know, for the most part. I know for myself, like when I close this screen off, like y'all gonna be the last Black people I see, and I'm not sure the next time I'm gonna see some Black people. You know what I mean?
I'm going to send you a picture of my face.
Yeah, exactly. And to share these types of things. And I just know from my own experiences, it's like, yeah, I got cool folks around me, but like, I got no bros around me. Like when I look at campus, I ain't got nobody to joke with. Like that's gonna get me with. I mean, there's 2 other Black females on campus, but it's like they don't get the same, you know, talks or things like that. Conversations we're gonna have ain't gonna always be the same. You know, just like conversation between Black women are gonna be totally different. You know,
True.
And so
Derek, what are you trying to say? Okay, look, we'll exchange numbers, man. We'll keep in touch, yeah?
Yeah. Oh, you're in the group. You're in the group right there, man. So I can just go ahead and log it in.
As PE teachers, as PE teachers.
Derek, don't be stealing my junior time. That's my junior right there. Don't steal my time.
As fellow PE teachers, man. Fellow PE teachers.
Yeah. It's 24 hours in the day. I ain't gonna take up all 24. That's for sure.
All right, as long as I got 23, you can have one.
You in Egypt also, Derek?
Excuse me.
Yeah.
You're also. Oh, okay.
I'm in Egypt. Yeah. So it's just super cool to have these. And I'll be honest, I'm kind of grateful for this pandemic because I've been able to hop in a few calls like this. Even like me and some of my homeboys back home.
That's nice.
My high school is only like, just high school I graduated from is only like 20, 21 years old. So it's still a baby.
Wow.
And so we've never had an alumni association. And so we just came up with this idea, we're going to create the alumni association. So we've been like meeting weekly for like the last like 4 or 5 weeks. And we put together our alumni association. But this is what happens when I get here. These are people I haven't seen in a decade or so. And we're getting into this space and it's like, it's love. Like, I met Steph in person one time and some communicated through text, but like right here, like I feel like it's family. Like I wouldn't know that it was my first time talking to you guys or anything like that, but it's just that kinship that we share, right?
Yeah.
No matter, you know, like when we walk through the streets and I know a bro with that head nodding, I got you.
This happens after every single podcast. This happens because, you know, you have a conversation and you don't realize that there's something spiritual happening where we're just connecting. Mm-hmm. And that's just Black people as a whole. When we get around each other, it's a sense of camaraderie, it's a sense of community, and it's a sense of brotherhood.
The Blackness, man. It's the Blackness.
Yeah. There's nothing better than being Black. I don't care. Nobody.
Yes. You know,
like you said, I'm glad, like the good look he did when he made me. He knew that I wasn't built for that 1960s style kind of stuff. He brought me in post. He like, homeboy, you too light in the butt. I'm too different for you. I'm gonna use you to work on the hearts of people in certain avenues. Yeah, I ain't putting you on the front line, homeboy.
I would have been the first killed. I already know. I would have been the first Negro running off the plantation. I would have been the first one killed.
Right?
I'm just thinking about the 1960s. I'm like that.
I'm
Would I
talking about
have
any generation. I would have been killed. I wouldn't have made it.
I'm like, damn, like I'm thinking about how I like to run now. I'm like, would I have been able to keep up with Harriet? You know what I mean? I'm like, would I have been one of the children?
I would have been right there next to Harriet with that cop. Come on, let's go. We going. We got to go. No, that's why I said I can't go back to the States. I can't. My spirit is too strong for a place like that, and I refuse to be harassed in that manner, and I refuse to have my children subjected to that kind of harassment. I don't even have kids, so I gotta think about that stuff. Like I just know me, and I know what I'm gonna put in my children, and if my children are a fraction of who I am, they're not gonna survive the States. They're just not. They're not. They're gonna be fighting every single day. They just are.
See, I don't. You know what? It's funny that you say that, because even when I show my children that with the George Floyd, I wanted to immediately let them know, but you don't fear anything. You don't fear man, no matter where you are, because situations, don't get me wrong, they're more intense in the States, but there's going to always be a situation everywhere. You always understand to walk in fearlessness, walk in who you are. Don't walk in fear. Don't hold your head down. You know, so I needed to let them know, and I showed them that for a reason. I even showed them the movie The Village. I don't know if you guys know about that movie, but it was just
names with the V, or like
The Village.
It came out like in 2005 with Joaquin Phoenix, where this group of people got together and created their own village because they didn't want to be a part of society anymore.
Okay.
They wanted to step away from all that was the problem, you know. You know, because for me, I kick it with my children. That's who I kick it with all day, every day, besides when I go to work and deal with the folks there. But I love hanging out with them. You know, these little people, you know. But I wanted to say I did enjoy this, you know, this medium, because I am in this space where I'm trying to figure out, where do I want to go? And I honestly don't want to be in just one place. I agree with my son of us moving to New Zealand or Australia, whichever we decide to choose, for that to be like a home base. But I don't want to, like I was telling my husband, I didn't want to come to Egypt to just be, okay, this is New America. I want to be throughout the world. I want them to experience the world and to see the creation that the Father has. And so my main thought is get there, set up, and to travel. You know, I don't know how that's going to look post-COVID or what's going on, but I do intend to also stay away from countries which are unfortunately a lot of African countries, because they want you to get vaccinated upon arriving to a lot of those countries. So I have to do that research because I'm against that.
Yeah,
you know. So this has helped me answer some of the questions I've had, and you know, my tentacles are always, you never know when you're going to receive messages. So I enjoyed what I received from all of you here on this platform.
You hit the nail on the head when you said Mongolia. I'm telling you, Mongolia. Woo.
I get a yurt. I be with a yurt.
and you have real reindeer.
Look, Mongolia is just quiet. What happens in Mongolia? Nothing.
Right.
Nothing. It's like Azerbaijan. Nothing happens there. Kazakhstan.
I gotta know there's black folks there. Look, I know there's some black folks in Mongolia.
Gotta be some. We everywhere. We on the four corners of the earth. We everywhere. We gonna find a brother or two somewhere.
Right.
Somewhere.
I have a friend that's in Tanzania right now, and she's not.
Oh, listen, man, Zanzibar. Oh man, listen.
She's not really feeling it that much. But
what?
You know.
Where is she in Tanzania? Is it Tanzania or is it Tanzania? I hear the locals say Tanzania. But we say Tanzania.
Tomato.
Okay, but what's the right way?
I say Tanzania.
Educate me. Somebody educate me.
I say the same. I say Tanzania.
See, we all say Tanzania, but I've been corrected so many times on Tanzania. It's Tanzania. And I'm like, that doesn't sound right to me, so I'm not saying it. It's Tanzania.
I think growing up.
So you're telling me you've been corrected and you still gonna choose not to say it right?
Because it doesn't sound right. It does not sound right.
So now what if our babies, they tell the teacher their name said it and they going back to it?
That's different. That's different. But it's like what she said, tomato. Like, are you just saying it like this because it's like how English, I mean, the people in UK.
So you tell me it's like status, huh?
Huh? Say again?
It's like status and status, huh?
Oh my God.
Or pecan and pecan.
Process?
It's a pecan.
Is it a process or a process?
Oh my gosh. Oh my, annoying.
Schedule or schedule?
Wait. This is what really annoys me. Junior people, how they when they use that S to spell something where a Z should like organization. Oh my God, when I see an S there, it drives me insane. Organization with an S, that is a Z sound.
No.
Yes, it is. It's not organization.
Let's not
organization.
S.
Yes.
It originated from here before it's taken over there and changed over. People are too lazy.
Nah. How do you spell in check with a Q? Like, nah.
Check with a Q? Absolutely. Depends
No.
what you're talking about. What you're talking about.
Absolutely not.
The check is definitely with a Q.
Absolutely
Shocking.
not. No.
Shocking.
All right, man. I'm going to go ahead and jump out of here, though.
All right. I am too.
I gotta get some hours of sleep. Make, 12 hours.
I gotta make cupcakes.
I gotta do 12 hours of work.
Yo, are you making real cupcakes or are you up cupcaking? Which one?
Ooh, I'm making some real cupcakes with some butter and some flour. That's what I'm doing.
Never
hashtag. Hey, ain't nobody making cupcakes at 1 o'clock in the morning. You up cupcaking?
Nah, trust me, I ain't cupcaking. I ain't about that life. Not about now. I ain't about that life. I'm making some real cupcakes to deliver to Marty's tomorrow.
You never delivered those cookies at one time either, but I ain't saying that.
I haven't made any cookies. I told you when I make some cookies, I'm gonna deliver. I promised him some chocolate.
That was like a month ago.
Some chocolate chip cookies. But I haven't made any. I don't know. You might got the corona. I don't know.
See you later, Junior. Nice seeing you again. Nice meeting you.
I got you on the cupcakes. I got you on the cookies.
See you later, guys.
All right.
Hey,
thank you.
We got to get contacts. We got to exchange contacts real quick because she said she's gonna kick everybody out of the group message.
Well, that's if you want. That's if you don't want to participate in the next session. I would kick you out. But everybody can exchange information on the group right now if you want to.
Is your number on the group? I'll send you a message.
Yeah, just put the messages on the group.
I'm in the P group as well, so whatever.
Okay.
I'll message you, man.
Oh, he's in Black Wall Street.
Is he? Oh, okay, that's cool. Yeah,
y'all both in Black Wall Street.
Right. It's like so many groups around here.
He got a transformer face. A transformer face or something like that.
I'm a groupie up around here, man. I don't like that. Y'all take care.
All right. See ya. Bye.